And we're live. Awesome. Eric, thank you
Yes.
so much for being here today. I'm really
Thank
excited to talk
you.
to you. And we already had a very exciting conversation right before the podcast recording. So I,
Yeah.
I know the energy is going to continue to flow in.
Oh, definitely. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad.
Likewise. So
Yeah.
before we get started, I'll just have you introduce yourself, let everybody know who you are, what you do, a bit about your background, and then we'll get into it.
So my name is Eric Rimon. I am 27 years old since 10 days ago. I live in Finland. I'm an entrepreneur within high-tech fields, different fields, but especially when it comes to green tech, clean tech, I'm there. Sustainability, I'm there. Um, Enjoying life and trying to develop solutions and create a better future for any upcoming generation in the future.
That's
That's
awesome.
about me.
Yeah. One thing I love about you is your versatility in all the different industries you're involved in, and you're never afraid to take that so-called leap of faith or so-called risk to get into a new industry and to really pioneer a new industry or a new approach to that industry. So that's something I've noticed about you that I like. But before I ask you any questions, happy belated
Sure.
birthday. Last time we
Thank you.
touched base, I told you happy early birthday. This time I said happy belated birthday. So I apologize for not catching you on the day, but happy belated.
No, it's totally fine. It's totally fine. It's 16 of 6th of January is my birthday. It's not late enough, so everything is well. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
thank
right
you.
around the New Year, so everybody's busy celebrating the New Year's and everything else. But it's a good time. It's a good time to. It's a fresh start for you as a person, and also for the New Year. So I would love
Oh
for my
yeah,
birthday to be on January as well. Mine is in November, so it's close enough. But
it's close
I love
enough. Yeah, it's close
yeah,
enough. What day? Which day do you have?
November 22nd.
22nd. Okay, then you are about a week after my mom. That's
Oh yeah,
nice.
nice.
That's yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
It's November is a nice month actually. It's it's autumn, but
Mhm.
it's like not the most dark part of the autumn.
Yep.
It's like the beauty part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I love the month too. I love autumn. I love the leaves changing and just the feel of the
Mm,
season. So yeah, I'm happy
it's
with
very
it. I'll take
colorful.
it. I'll take it.
Yeah,
Uh,
colorful. Yeah.
So, first place I want to touch on is just how you got introduced to entrepreneurship and how you got into all of this and what your mindset was when you were younger. I know for myself, there were really two things. One was creating a level of wealth that I'd be happy with and creating a lifestyle that I'd be happy with. I just knew that whatever my potential is and the upside is, I want to pursue that and I want to reach for that upside. That was one aspect. But the other aspect that arguably is more important as I've gotten older and I've gotten wiser and I've realized is I really love the autonomy. I love the freedom. I love the mobility and versatility. I love to travel. I love to make my own decisions. I'm very much a control freak. And I'm proud of that because I like to control my future. I like to control my outcomes, right? So I
Mm.
realized that was one big aspect for me as well. So those were the reasons that I got into business or entrepreneurship: sales first, and then partnerships, and then entrepreneurship. But I want to know what it was for you. At what age, and also what was it that drew you towards entrepreneurship?
Wow. That's a great question. So first of all, I can definitely see myself, in every situation just described here as an entrepreneur. It's like the freedom, the thing that you want to do, you want to develop, you want to show the world who you are, to reach goals and everything. I really love that, and that's exactly what made me into an entrepreneur. But besides that, I started in my entrepreneurship career or journey uh, in the age of 18. I realized that, hey, Eric, you have so many great ideas, so many good things to develop, so many solutions. Um, do something with that. But when I think about it again now, no, actually, right now, so I think I started it by the age of 15, even. So much earlier than 18. I just never had this, what can I say, courage to actually develop anything when I was like just 15 years old. Who will listen to me, today I totally think differently. People actually want listen to a kid that is 15 years old, and the way he may see the world. Anyways, so by the age of 18, I moved from Israel alone, and I moved to Scandinavia, and then I needed to kind of recreate, or be very creative about what I should do, because there are not so many work opportunities. You need to do something, and you have a great knowledge and ideas. So I think the first idea was the Psynet, like the service for psychologists online. And I moved to Sweden, and in Sweden they have a very great infrastructure for entrepreneurship. Like you just come there and you say, well, I have an idea. They help you from the start till the end. So that's how I started my journey. And till now, I'm in touch with my mentor from that program. It's like it was an accelerator program, and we are
Mhm.
still, yeah, connected.
That's awesome. Just like yourself, I started really young, and I was lucky enough. I mean, there's a lot of factors that play into this, right? Sometimes, I don't know if you do this, but I look back and in hindsight, it feels like everything was building on top of each other. Everything was a natural progression, or sometimes it almost even feels like it was destined to be,
Mm,
right? And, I'm
exactly.
not the most spiritual person, but as I get older and wiser again, I tend to tune a lot more into that. And especially
Mm,
when you look back and again you see your path. So one was immigration, and I know it's the same for you, and we can talk about that.
mm,
For me,
mm,
I moved over from a different part of the world, completely different outlook, different culture, different way of life, different opportunities,
mm,
and that allowed me to really open my eyes and want to pursue bigger and better things. And then the other was getting lucky enough to get introduced to sales, to my first mentor, Jim Rohn, to a lot of these lessons, and that really started to mold my way of thinking, molded my outlook in general. Right. So it's interesting how things happen. And I think we were both very lucky in a sense. I mean, I
mm.
use that word pretty loosely because we put in the work, but we were lucky that we got introduced to this very young. Right. But one thing I just want to
Exactly.
ask you quick, there's a lot that I want to talk to you about. My brain is going a million different directions. But one thing I just want to ask you is
I'm all
that
yours. It's
courage.
okay.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
That courage that allowed you to get up and move, get up and leave, go to a completely new country on your own when you're so young. Where do you develop that type of courage? Or if somebody's younger who's watching this right now who wants to get up and move, right before this we were talking about moving to different countries and different places
Mm.
for opportunities. What advice would you give younger people who are looking to develop that courage and want to take that leap of faith?
I always think that you need to really observe. Ask yourself, like, what was the most difficult situation in my life? Then try to go there with your mind. You are going there, and then you ask this yourself. Let's say 5 years ago, Eric, 5 years ago. Um, what do you think? Will you succeed? Yeah, right now it looks like horrible, and you are going through so many obstacles and challenges. But Eric, I can tell you 5 years ahead that everything is going to be all right. That's the thing we should do. We must do. We must observe. We must think that, okay, well, 5 years ago, did I have the courage to do what I'm doing right now? Ask yourself that. And when you get the answer that yes, but it will, you know, take time, and maybe it's not, it will like, it's not so easy. So you need to really ask yourself that. You need to go back and to tell yourself, Eric, everything will be all right. So the same is valid for everything, every choice we're doing in life. We are considering it. We say to ourselves, "Oh, it will fail," but if you will not do that, then you will fail, because it's better to do things than to not do anything. And I
Mhm.
just told you before we started this podcast that we have in Swedish a say that says "gå upp och pröva dina vingar," and that means basically that you need to go and test your wings. You need to test. You need to live. You need to feel. You need to do everything possible to succeed, than to just give up. Because when you give up, then you lose, and that's the courage. You need to remember that doesn't matter what you will do it. It will be all right. It will be
Mhm.
fine. Just trust
Mhm.
yourself. Yeah,
Yeah, I love that mindset. You're gonna have to teach me that saying later because I want to be able to, drop that saying in Swedish at any given moment. I think that's
sure.
a
There is even a
nice little
song.
trick.
Yeah, there is even a
Yeah.
song. Yeah, so I can
Okay.
send it to you later.
100% send it to me. I would love that. Any type of, positive or encouraging message, I just love. I'm a sucker for inspiration. I look for inspiration in all things. I'm always looking out for inspiration. It's just something that adds a lot of positive energy to me and to my life. And I love to see greatness because it inspires me to want to pursue that as well. So I love sayings like that. I love to study and read quotes like that. So that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But what I
Yeah,
gather from what you're saying is just the positive outlook. You'd rather try and do things and be busy and be consistent than sit there and not do things and get lost in your own thoughts and what most people do, which is paralysis by analysis.
yeah,
Overanalyze so much that they're paralyzed. They just don't even do anything. They never take action.
exactly. Because when you overthink about something and thinking negatively, because normally as our human brain is thinking that, oh, I will fail, because you are always observing things out of a situation that you already experienced. But if you just try to kind of flip it, flip it around. Okay, now I think the negative way. Be aware that you think right now negatively. Just try to think about it. Try to think about it positively. How would it be possible? And how would I think if I would have this positivity mindset about the same, move you're doing in life? So it doesn't matter, right now, let's say I move in 2 weeks to Denmark. Okay.
Hmm.
So I could say, oh, if I will move to Denmark, I will fail, and my business that I will start in a month, this will fail, and uh, it will be, a disaster, and I will end up without any money. Or I could ask myself, Eric, why do you think like that? Is it is it real? Do you know? Can you know the future? How you will make it happen, and you will make it work, and you will do everything you can. And if you fail, all right, but the chances to, you have three doors. I always say you have three doors. um one door has the golden, card that gives you millions or billions euros. And so you have those three doors. But if you choose to not to stay in the same door, they say to you, okay, choose one door, but they give you first the left door. Okay. And you say, you have two chances. Do you want to move or to stay? And if you are not moving and staying, then you are actually losing. So
Hmm.
you must move, you must test, you must do things in order to experience and to discover things in life. I hope
Hmm.
you got it. I try to
Yeah, yeah.
explain it.
No,
Yeah,
I love the analogies. I love the
yeah,
analogies and the quotes and everything else. Sometimes it's necessary to really make the point. It sounds
yeah.
like to really simplify it all, it sounds like you're very much a glass half full type of guy as opposed to a glass half empty, right? But I do want to ask you, was there ever a time or do you ever find yourself in moments where you get doubtful or fearful or you see the downside of things? And if you do, how do you work your way out of that? You basically mentioned a couple of ways you can reframe that.
Mm.
But for anybody who's stuck in a tough situation, or nowadays over the last few years, there's been a lot of challenges, of course, as
Oh,
you're
yeah.
well aware,
Mm,
internationally, and it applies to everybody, right? We have all kinds of different challenges that at one point or another somebody's felt it. And in the
mm,
entrepreneurship circle, a lot of my own good friends, a lot of people in my network, I've been part of multiple businesses that have been completely hit, so I've seen it firsthand. And I know how I manage and deal with those type of scenarios. And thankfully, I've always had a good framework to handle it. But
mhm,
I've seen a
mhm.
lot of other entrepreneurs suffer as a result. So when you do find yourself in those moments, how do you get yourself out of that?
So the way I get out is always to, because first of all, let's go back. Yes, I experienced. Of course, I'm failing. Of course, I am hitting the hitting myself, and it hurts. It is hurting, but that's life, right? I mean,
Hmm.
life is a journey. And when I started in this accelerator program when I was 18 years old, so my mentor told me it's a journey. It's like, do you know Luna Park train, like this Luna Park that
Hmm.
is going like that. So yeah, 1 minute you are up enjoying life, then you are also enjoying life, but you are way down. That's the same is valid for life. You know that when it's dark, it's temporary. it will be all right. Yeah, it may take years, it may take months, it may take days, but you need to always remember that, hey, okay, this is the given situation. Yes, last 3 4 years been very very tough. They like really tough for me, in many ways. But I always say to myself that, Eric, it's temporary. Some days are better than others, and I always think about life in a way of waves. You know, waves of the sea.
Hmm.
So it comes and goes, and always you will always have challenges. You will always have it, and life is great with challenges, because then we are learning to appreciate things that are good in life. If
Hmm.
everything is perfect all the time, you will always think negatively about life. But when you taste the bad side of life, the negative side of life, then you can appreciate everything good you have.
Hmm.
And that's, I'm trying to stick into my positive mindset, what I have, and of course to
Hmm.
remember that everything is temporary.
Yeah, I really agree with that perspective. I think, first of all, with the ups and downs, a wise man once said that life is up and down, but as long as it's headed upwards, eventually those up and downs are fine. That volatility in the short to medium term is fine, as long as eventually long term you're headed
Exactly.
upwards, right? And I think for somebody like yourself, like myself, who prioritizes working on ourselves, prioritizes developing our minds, our bodies, our businesses, everything that helps us grow on all fronts. I think
Hmm.
at the end of the day, long term, if you zoom out, we're always headed upwards. And that zoom out
Exactly.
is the important part. It's perspective. And unfortunately, a lot of people get too dialed in, too narrowly focused on their current
Mm,
situation or on themselves, and they lose perspective. But if you continue to zoom out and gain perspective, everything becomes a lot simpler. Everything makes a lot more sense. The stress and the pressure of life really gets alleviated with some perspective in the bigger picture of things, right?
yeah, it is. It
So
is.
yeah, I'm definitely
It's
with you there. And it sounds like your mentor when you were younger had a big impact on you, because you've mentioned it twice now. So I've picked up on that, and it sounds
yeah,
like
it is.
mentorship for you was
It's
also
true.
really important.
Yeah, of course. And you know, I even started my one of my companies was to, well, 2021. I think I got to know you through there. I'm not sure. I'm not pretty
I
sure,
was
but
just about to say, I think this company you're referring is
uh,
how we met. And
yeah,
for anybody who doesn't know, for a certain period, you actually had me listed on your directory as essentially a sales expert. So I was helping along with your team as well. And
exactly.
on a quick side note, it's crazy to think that we've known each other for about 3 years now. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, time flies. But yeah, that's true. And well, mentoring is a huge part of my life, but also self-development, um, self-analysis also, I would say, in many, many terms. Because you want to help, you want to share your knowledge, you want to help others to think in a way that will help them in life. And I started a company that helped especially immigrants that came to Finland, because I realized that, hey, Eric, there is no service that is actually helping immigrants that are willing to become entrepreneurs. There are many, many services. There are many, many welfare programs and accelerator programs for people that are willing to become a part of the work, working market, like the job market, the regular one, but no uh, specific program for entrepreneurs that are immigrants and are willing to develop their own business idea, and to do something with their, like, something else. And so I developed a program of 10 weeks. I think the name was like from an idea to a product, selling product within 10 weeks. It was a super interesting study case for me to see. And some people actually thought that, wow, that gives me exactly what I need to know. And
Hmm.
my basically best approach was that um, every customer got a mentor in their own mother tongue. And that's something that I really, really saw that helped a lot, many people to really realize that, oh, now I get like directions in my own language. And that's very
Yeah.
good.
That's a really unique approach to it. Having a mentor in their own language, that's something that I haven't seen done before. So it's awesome that you're always experimenting and trying to take a new approach to standard industries, you could say. You mentioned self-reflection and self-analysis, and I
Mm,
know that you're a very analytical guy, right? You're very much always thinking and observing and processing decisions. For
mm.
anybody who wants to reflect more, wants to look deeper into themselves, do you have any practices or habits or anything that you do on a day by day basis or an ongoing basis that helps you sit down and really self reflect and make decisions?
Yeah, I ask myself every day before I'm going to sleep, Eric, how was your day? Did you manage to face some challenges? Did you manage to develop yourself? Yes, no, no, yes. You're just asking, and then you're asking yourself, okay, in what way? So you remember that. And of course, I have also notebook, and I
Mhm.
always write there that some ideas went better than others, some processes went better than others. Um, Strategic thinking is very important for us as humans. It's very important that we are doing things that will help us in the future, not just doing it because it's the most convenient, it's the easiest way. It will serve us, it will help us in the future. And how it will help us? By reaching our personal goals. And personal goals can be everything from economy to relationship to education to bodybuilding, everything. But it's important that we are doing it and not stuck in a situation where we are not really happy, and we just have to do it and we deal with life, but we barely, we kind of survive. That's not the healthy way to live. It's actually kind of the opposite. It leads to depression and to other problems, because your body is understanding, your brain is understanding that, hey, Eric, right now you're not doing well because you're not really working for your goals. You're working
Mhm.
against your goals. You're working for some other goals. And that's something that is important to every day ask yourself, how did I reach my goals today? What did I do? And
I
what
love
can I
that.
do? How can I improve things? And what can I do better? That's my
This just
approach.
reminds me of there's a saying that goes something along the lines of every time you say yes to everyone and everything else, you're saying
Mm.
no to your own goals, right? It's basically about prioritizing and really putting your focus in the right place. This just reminds me of that, and I love that you're doing an end of day reflection and looking at what to tweak, what to adjust. And you're
Mm.
absolutely right. Thinking longer term, thinking strategically is really necessary. I love to ask these type of questions because I'm personally fascinated by routines, by habits,
Mhm.
by structures and systems that work for entrepreneurs, whether it's productivity related, work related, or whether it's more mental, whether it's more on the spiritual side. What helps you become the person that you are and perform at an optimal level? All of that interests me and fascinates me. So it's something I always like to ask. Are there any systems you have productivity wise or work wise? As entrepreneurs, we always get busy.
Yeah.
How do you ensure you get work done every day? You're productive, you're moving the ball forward every day.
I always say that a good entrepreneur is a good time tracker. You really need to be great in time management. You can do, I mean, in general, we are doing so many tasks at the same time, but you need to have a procedure. You need to follow it from the beginning till the end. It must be clear, it must be organized, but you must also be aware of time management and the way you are actually, what is more urgent, what is less urgent. And of course, if you can outsource and kind of delegate to others, so do it and save time. But of course, time management, priority, sorry, of different tasks according to what is more urgent than other. And you know I want to go back to the also how I deal with different challenges and things. And it's also very, very relevant here because um, I am surrounded by very smart friends. And I am a person that is sharing. Okay, right now I have this and that challenge, and they are sharing with me as well. We are helping each other. But when I'm totally lost, I'm calling my very good friend from Dubai, and I'm asking him, "Hey, what will you do? Like, I'm stuck in this kind of problem, challenge. What do you think?" And always I get a great answer. And same likewise for I know that when he needs me, so I'm there for him. So it's time management, great friends, networking, um, and priority. That's the I think ABC of any entrepreneur.
I think that's really helpful for everybody. And you mentioned going back to overcoming challenges. I was going to say this earlier, but I think it's a good time to say it now.
Mm,
Just like what we feed ourselves determines how we look and how we move and how we operate and how we feel physically, the information that we consume also very much directly influences how we think,
yeah,
how we view the world, how we decide to take action, how positive we feel or how negative we feel. So I think that's all very important. One thing that I learned, again, luckily, again, I'm just going to keep throwing that word around today. Luckily, when I was young, is from my first mentor, stand guard at the door of your mind. He used to always say, you got to stand guard at the door of your mind. And for anybody, my team and I come across a lot of younger people who don't have the
mm,
right environment, don't have the right people around them.
mm,
Maybe their families giving them advice that is not exactly what they want to do. So there's conflicting
mm,
information in their sphere, in their environment. And I tell them all the same thing. You want to stand guard at the door of your mind. So I used to literally picture Roman guards at the door of my mind, my brain, and they wouldn't allow any negative information in. And I think nowadays it's harder than ever because with social media, with the news, with everything happening, there's a floodgate of information coming your way. If you wake up and open your phone, you're going to get hit with all kinds of information and you don't know what's coming your way. So there's no
mm,
way you could control your view, control your outlook, control your mindset. So I think that's also very important to realize what you're
yeah.
consuming, and also tell me what your thoughts are on this. You're either consuming or you're producing. In my opinion, there are no two ways about it. If I'm consuming, I can't be producing at the same time. If I'm producing, I don't have time to consume. So, in my opinion, it's one or the other.
I think you can actually combine both of them here. I'm pretty,
Sure. I'd love to hear that.
because yeah, I can tell you that, right now, in Israel there is a war, and I actually lost two of my friends, childhood friends, on October 7th, when the terror attack happened there. And
Right. I'm
till
sorry
then,
to hear that.
yeah, yeah. Well, life is tough. We having we are having
Hmm.
challenges, but we will overcome them. Of course, I follow their families, and I always, trying to help, because they are actually the people that are real, for real suffering. Their families. I'm just a friend, but they live with them, so they're, yeah. But at the same time, it made me to realize that, Eric, you are not doing enough in order to actually make people think positively and make people think about that peace is possible. I'm always thinking that peace is possible no matter what. You actually need to both consume, unfortunately, and yes, sometimes it requires that you will read some negative news, but you can also produce. So you take the negative news, you transfer it into positive news in a way that I know. Well, for example, one article, they wrote many, many things. Oh, there is no chance for peace, and this and this and this, and all these kind of people, they will never be good, they will never agree. But you ask yourself, is it so that they are from there? No, they're not from Israel, they're not from Palestine. The journalist that wrote it is not from there. So they may not know that actually people in both sides wants to be, want to live in peace. So that's the thing. You can consume it, but at the same time you can say that that's not real, and you can actually publish it, share it with your people on Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever, and tell them that, hey, this journalist is actually not from Israel or Palestine, and my best friend is actually Palestinian, and I can tell you that peace is possible. That if we just dare to think that it is possible, it will be possible, and no matter what one journalist or others say. That's my, way of thinking, that we need to, yeah, last year's been pretty tough. We can't really like filter everything, but we can
Sure.
transfer it into something positive and say that, you know what, this negative news is just drama queen news. They want to
Hmm.
create drama. They are not really willing to solve the issue, to show that there is some hope for a better future.
Yeah. Well, first of all, again, I'm sorry to hear about your friends, and I know it's been very challenging for you, particularly because I know, again, this is very near and dear to you. So I appreciate you sharing
Mm,
all your thoughts. I love the outlook that peace is possible, and you want everybody to live a peaceful existence and be able to have the freedom they want and take care of their families and live good,
definitely.
prosperous lives. At the end of the day, we're all here together as one species, and I would hope that humanity can live in peace and allow all of us to flourish and prosper and everybody
Hope.
be on the same page. So that's always the hope, and I think there is optimism. There's also a lot of sides to this. I think I love
Of
history
course.
personally. I love to look back on history. I study a lot of history. I mean, going way back, like very, very long history, not just the last couple of world wars. I just finished a multi-part, probably about 15-hour series on the Mongol Empire. Just before
Oh,
that, I went through probably a 20-hour series on the Roman Empire. So I've been going very, very deep on history, and I love to take all the lessons away from it. And one reality that I've seen that you could say is unfortunate, but I think it's just part of the human condition is there's always battles, wars, ups and downs, conquests. There's always humans fighting for power, resources, control, whatever it may be. So it's a part of human history as long as it's ever been there. As long as we can look back. But again, there's been drastic improvements, a lot of information,
true,
education, a lot of changes in society compared to those times in history. We are living in the easiest, softest, most
true.
opportune times ever. Period. There's no arguing that. The human condition, human quality of life, all of that has drastically improved. So,
I
for
mean, we
sure,
have,
there's an optimistic side to this.
yeah, we have human rights. We have rights as citizens, people are equal. Before it was like only like like a small, tiny, small part of the people that could really live comfortable life, and to really develop themselves, to even study at university. If you wouldn't be a part of the elite, so called, so you would never get access to education and higher education, especially. So, I mean, we live in great times. Um, so it's very important from historical perspective that we are aware of that. I just finished actually during the flight here to Gran Canaria from Finland. It's about 8 hours of flight, nightmare. But I
Mhm.
finished a movie about Finnish history, and what can I say? I am shocked how far we, or in a good, I mean, how much we developed ourselves the last 100 years, from actually people without any rights. You are nothing. You are just a taxpayer. That's it. To
Mhm.
people with rights, with access to so much information, to so many opportunities. That's something that we must learn, appreciate uh, in the year of 2024. I mean, literally, you can go everywhere. Nobody's stopping you. Of course, we are living in Europe and you're living in Canada and USA. Some parts of the world are less, they have less access, but it gets there. We will make them to actually come and become like equal to us. It just takes time, but they will make it. They will make it.
Yeah, yeah,
Our,
you're absolutely right. Of course,
yeah,
there's still, there's always been, a divide in terms of opportunities, in terms of accessibility, all of that. And again, it's just about the progress. And I think when you zoom out on a macro scale, on thousands of years, there's been a lot of progress, and there's a lot of hope and optimism when you look at it from that perspective. If you just zoom into
definitely.
today and only focus on the challenges that we have today, of course, it's going to look negative. Of course, you're going to think humanity is on a downward spiral. But if you zoom out and you look at thousands of years of history, we're very much on the up and up. There was a time in history, this is truth. There was a time where if you were sentenced to a beheading, that was considered merciful. That was them being nice to you, right? To just cut off your head and not torture you or do anything else. So, I think we've come a long way. I think we're making some
Indeed.
progress here. So,
Indeed,
But that's
indeed.
why, that's why it's important to look at history and have that perspective.
And read and be aware also. It's not the problems we are dealing with are minor compared to earlier generations' problems. Second World War, even before. I mean, we have almost everything. We go to the supermarkets, we have there tons of food. We have clean water, we have clean air, we have sun. Okay, in some parts of the world, and that's
Yeah.
something we need to remember always. And I think it's also important that me and you, as people with this kind of knowledge, will transfer it to others. Will make others to realize that life can look very difficult, but hey, the perspective is something we need to change. You need to look into the life from another perspective and try to see that, or try, because it's not so easy. That's why I'm saying try. Try to see it from historical point of view, and then it
Yeah.
will be very good. I mean, in general,
Yeah, again, I think perspective is always power. It really
it
is in
is.
every aspect, even with your business, even with personal life. Perspective is always power. So for me personally, having more and more perspective and continuing to expand your perspective, this is why I love to travel as well. Love to get to know different cultures, different ways of life, because it gives me perspective. I think
Hmm.
that's important. But all of this stemmed from talking about consuming versus producing. So I want to just circle back to that really quickly. I
Sure.
still hold my view that you can't do both. You're either consuming or you're producing. Now, what you mentioned is a bit of a distinction because you mentioned you have to consume in order for you to speak on and help and be active on this idea. But I think that's when you're actually looking to be productive or produce in that realm. So of course you have to
Yeah.
consume first to then act on it. You're
Exactly.
essentially an activist, or you're actively involved in helping or doing something. But most people
Mm.
are not actually doing something. They're not really being productive, right?
Yeah.
They don't really have a voice. They're not really making an impact. They're not really contributing. They're not
Mm.
really taking a flight and being there on the front line. So if you're not doing something to actively help or actively give back or contribute, then this consumption is all it is. It's just consumption, right?
Yeah. It's just
So I think
negative.
there's a
Mm.
distinction there. But in general life, forget these unforeseen circumstances, but in general life and also in business, I think you're either consuming or you're producing. And unfortunately, a lot of people nowadays, a lot of younger people get sucked into the social media world, the algorithms, everything else. And,
Mm.
before they know it, they've spent the last 8 hours on TikTok versus what could you have been doing with that time? Right. And I
Oh,
think that's my challenge with it. Right. For me personally, time is everything. Right. This is
time is
Seneca
money.
the Younger.
Time is money.
It's
Time is
time is
something.
life.
Time is life. Exactly. Time is life and
Right.
money. I'm always saying that every minute that is past, like let's say 2 seconds ago, they will never come back. They will never come
Yeah.
back. This is the most expensive. That's why I'm saying time is money. This is the most
Right.
expensive thing in your life. You lost it,
Yes.
and if you're not using it
Yes.
wisely, then finito.
That's exactly it. One of my favorite all-time books that I revisit over and over again, at least 20, 30 times I've read it already, and I continue to always do that. And again, back to perspective, it really helps. It's from Seneca the philosopher. And technically, it's not a book. It's called a moral essay. He used to publish or used to write back in the day, 2,000 years ago, a lot of these moral essays. And this one is called On the Shortness of Life. And from that long ago, it still is very much applicable today. And one of the things that he talks about in his main point is that time is the ultimate currency. And he says it in different words, but this is basically what he's saying. He's saying most people are so lavish with their time. They're so giving with their time. They're willing to just, give you their time and do everything and waste their time and in all these luxuries and wasteless activities, but they're stingy with their money, with their properties, with their possessions. And he says it should be the other way around. You should be giving and generous and lavish with your money and with your possessions, be willing to share that and help others, but be stingy with your time. And
Mm,
I'm very much in that camp and in that belief system. For me personally, prioritizing time is the number one thing, the number one focus, what I always am looking at. So
sure.
I'm very, very, very stingy with my time. It's people around me know, people in my environment, friends and family know. You'll only see me on very, very special occasions. My priorities are in check, and I'm not willing to compromise for anything or anybody. And I'm very strict on that. I think prioritizing time is everything because, like you said, every second your life is ticking away. We
Exactly.
know there's an endpoint. We know
Mm,
what happens after, who knows, but we know
yeah,
there's an endpoint to this game that we're playing right now. So every second we've spent here together, we're getting closer and closer to that finish line. So what are
true.
we willing to do with that information, right?
Exactly. I totally agree with you. And you must make it into the best time of your life. And by self-development, and actually, that's the thing, we just discussed about it, that, Eric, what are you doing, like, in order to achieve goals? You need to ask yourself, how did I use my time? Consumption is something that I am asking myself. Did I consume my time wisely? Or I just spend it on watching Netflix, which is very nice to watch sometimes on the way to Gran Canaria. But, just every day, Netflix, TikTok, 8 hours, 12 hours, 20 hours will not take you anywhere. You will just spend your life. Spend your life and it's the worst thing you can do to yourself. It's actually self-harming behavior to spend your life because you are actually making yourself by scrolling through this kind of TikTok. You're not making yourself happier. Okay, sometimes you will see some video that makes you to laugh, some comedy, I don't know what, but you are not making yourself happier. You're actually making this company richer and yourself
Mm-hmm.
poorer. So
Mm-hmm.
you are losing life, you're losing money, you're losing your like your time. And that's something I can't really understand. And maybe that's something that, if I think about it, that's something that I was a pretty different person in my life as a young guy. I never spent time on computer games, watching TV. I created, I did something with my brain.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that is maybe different. And I
Same
mean,
here. We definitely have that in common.
yeah, and it helped me. I must say,
Mm-hmm.
I must admit that it helped me a lot because I'm not sorry to say that, but if you compare a person that is 7 years old, like me, um, to another person that is 27 years old and all his life he played in computer games and okay, went to college, then finished studies, worked 7 to 3 job or 8 to 4 job, the regular life. I mean, this person has this kind of experience and all the kind of journey, what is the name, adventures I had? No, I don't think
Mm-hmm.
so. And yeah, you need to really dare to do things and to dare to be different. That's the thing, I think.
Yeah, I love that. I think if there's ever a message that you can definitely speak on, it's that because you do have that lifestyle. You have made unorthodox decisions that allowed you to create the life that you want. You're sitting there in a
Exactly.
beautiful place in 30-degree weather, So you wouldn't have these options and these availabilities if you spent all your time consuming, right? But
Exactly.
you actually grew up producing and working and being on purpose, and that's why you can live the way that you live today. And I think that's an important takeaway for everybody. Unfortunately, in the short term, you might not see it. You might be working hard and thinking it's not happening for me, but longer term, the results will be there as long as you stick to it. I think it's almost like a funny way that the universe tests you to see if you, again, this is coming from a not very spiritual person, but I do
Mm,
believe this, that you have to almost pass the universe's test that you do really want this. You want these goals. You want this business or this career or this line of work, or you want to become who you say you want to become, and
exactly.
you'll be tested. And if you fail those tests and go back to your comfort zone, you won't see the
You will
results or
be the
rewards.
loser. Yeah, exactly. And I think the winners are the people that are sticking and always, sticking to their goals and always dare to not, to dare to fail, but because they know that, well, I'm staying here, I will fight till the end, I will win. So that's
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the kind of winners mindset.
Yeah,
I heard it from many, many great people, and
for sure.
I really love it.
This just reminds me. I have to share this with you. I had a gentleman on the podcast. This guy is, I think 30 plus years or 26 plus years, special forces in the U.S. military, very high level individual. So you can imagine, an entire lifetime of special forces career. And he said one thing on the podcast that always stayed with me. He said one aspect is creating a plan, but the more important aspect is sticking to the plan. And this is what we just talked about, right? Sticking to
Exactly.
the plan and being consistent with the plan. And this is something that I see missing for a lot of younger people nowadays.
Mm,
Again, my team and I talk to a lot of young people, 18, 20, 25 years old. And one thing that we see is they're chasing the hot trends. They're chasing the hot industries. They're one day they're doing this job, next day they're doing this job, next day they're doing this business, or they're trying to do three, four at the same time.
mm,
And to me, that's the first sign that you're not going to succeed, at least not in all these different avenues, right? I love to see somebody who's dialed in, focused, and committed. I think commitment is the key to
commitment.
really seeing the results you want to see.
Exactly.
So, what are your thoughts on this in today's world where people are so pulled in many different directions, and these younger people especially want to, do it all at the same time? What would you advise? What are your thoughts?
Focus. But mainly also to do, not only to plan. It's nice to plan, it's nice to say, yes, I will do that, and I have dreams about creating a business and becoming like a entrepreneur, successful businessman, blah, blah, blah. Okay, focus now. What are you going to do? What are you going to do now in order to reach, the planned goals? And once you are, daring to really actually think about that, oh, I can make it, then you will make it. But if you are just planning and hanging around, and yes, this is nice, and I will jump from one job to another one, and plans are nice on paper, but they will not bring you any money. Your productivity will bring you money. And
Hmm.
I think also many times I mean, people that are entrepreneurs with in their soul, like me and you, we never really we plan, but a little bit. We actually develop, and it's a bit different. We see something, we say, okay, I will test that way. It will go. If it will go, great. If not, I will change it. And I think we don't have like huge plans. We have like kind of goals, and then we make it to achieve the goals. Like that's I think the difference. So my thoughts about all the people that are hanging around is to focus more, focus, be precise, be more structured, and down to earth, really. And sometimes also people are, I feel, trying to put too high goals, and that's
Hmm.
something that is not like unrealistic goals that will not take you anywhere. Start with
Hmm.
something small that will be easy to follow and will be easy to achieve. Then after that, you can develop it by time, but never start with, yeah, this year I will make 10 million euros. Last year I made 1,000 euros. How? Is it
Hmm.
realistic? How you will
Hmm.
make it? Unless you are, I don't know what you're doing, but
Hmm.
so start with small goals, then make it bigger and bigger. Never start with unrealistic goals, and be focused and precise.
I'm 100% with you on everything you just said. That's great advice.
Yeah,
In a noisy world like we have today, again, with all the negativity and all the news and constant barrage of information in all directions, focus is the ultimate superpower. If you can focus and get dialed in and really be committed to your purpose, that's the ultimate superpower. That's how you get ahead of everybody else. That's how you really, can make progress that's measurable that
exactly.
you can see. And then with goals, I used to, when I was younger too, I don't blame them. I used to think, next year I want to be a billionaire. And I used to set these giant goals, right? But then as I got older and as I got more experience in sales and business and in life, I realized that long term goals are, on one hand, a procrastination mechanism, because when you have a goal for the next 10 years and this big thing you want to do, you can relax today, or you can sit down and watch Netflix today, because you'll tell yourself, I'm still a long way from that goal anyways. I'll do the work tomorrow. Right? It
Mm,
allows you to actually procrastinate. The second thing is you're always focused on what you don't have. You're always focused on the lack. If I'm thinking, where are my billions? I'm always focused on what I don't have. And that's just a negative state to operate from.
That's
It's
true.
just not helpful. And
That's
then
true.
third, it doesn't take into account you changing and evolving. Because for me personally, I don't know about you, but as I've matured and grown older, my goals have completely changed. A lot of things that I would have said I want when I was in
Hmm.
my early 20s, I don't want now. It's not even a factor for me now. It's not even attractive in any way for me. So your goals change as you change and evolve. So for me personally, I believe in 3 to 12 month goals, 3, 6, 12. That's the maximum time frame. And these short-term goals allow you to get up and move today, allow you to get up and take action today. And then you can check those goals off and continue to improve and continue to get better. So
Exactly.
that's been my take on it.
And every year, for example, I make a list, before we're shifting the year. So let's say 2024, every birthday, 6th of January, I make a long list of goals for this year. But then I'm always following it up. I'm always doing a follow up. And then if it's not realistic, I am actually just deleting it and or just updating it. But I will never, put some goals that are unrealistic and for the next 10 years. You're not a state. You are not like a government that is depending on budget. You are a person, human being, and you need to think as a human being. So 12 months is enough. And I totally agree there with you. 10 years is good
Yeah.
for Ministry of Transport or something
Finland.
like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm
Transportation.
definitely with you. I'm definitely with you. You know what's interesting too? When you think so short term and you're really focused on the micro and doing more work and getting more done, you make so much more progress. When you look back on last month or even last week, you literally don't recognize yourself because you've added more layers to your character, to your knowledge. You're doing things that, you understand better now than you did a month ago. So
Exactly.
you make a lot more progress a lot faster. You really compress time. And then by the end of those 12 months, you're way further ahead. And
Mhm.
then you can set the stage for the next 12 months. And then you can continue to level up like that. But again, if you're focusing on one big target and you're giving yourself a long time to do it, it's just, in my opinion, it's not the right way to go. It just doesn't make any sense.
Nah, and many people are actually failing there, and that's the thing. And then for example, it's the same. It's the same is valid also for businesses, new businesses. As an entrepreneur, if you try to develop a business, and you think 10 years ahead, how can you? I mean, 10 years
Mhm.
your business will change. You can't think about, yes, I'm developing a business idea and it will stay so forever. No, actually you must update your strategy every 3 to 6 months at least. I mean, this is like the minimum, if not even like more often. So same is valid for life, same is valid for businesses. You need to always, and then the situation is always changing. The world around us is changing big time. You must take into consideration everything, and you can't predict the future. That's a fact. If we could predict the future, one of us will be today, I don't know, somewhere
Mhm.
else, like maybe private jet pilots with parties
Yeah, we'd be
every day.
trillionaires by now. I mean, if I could predict the future, you would see
Exactly.
it. You would know. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And but that's a good thing also, because we can't predict the future, we can try to create it and be very creative in order to do so. So we are realistic, we are kind to ourselves, but we are also making it happen somehow. And the somehow is the biggest secret that we both of us have, like this perspective about life and how we think, and we update things, and we are flexible. Flexibility is also a huge part of it, actually.
Yeah.
Flexibility and dare to change yourself, and don't really think about what others are saying. Do it and show others that you are the right person, and you are right. You were right always.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think, with the fast pace of everything nowadays, with technology evolving, with
Mhm.
AI and all the tools and everything coming our way, it is required, like you said, to revisit your plans every 3 months or so. Every quarter, sit down and take a look at your business, take a look at where you're heading in the right direction, where you need to pivot, take a look at the Pareto's Law, the 80-20 rule. What's the 20% that's actually yielding the 80% of the results in your business, and double down on that 20%, really focus there, really look at what is working and what is not working, and what tools can you incorporate, what strategies can you incorporate. I
Exactly.
do a lot of this with good friends of mine in my network that have other expertise that I
Yeah.
don't have, and we share our knowledge with each other, and we help each other. We hop
That's
on calls and work on each other's strategies.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want to say and mention here, that it's the same is valid also when it comes to networking. I mean, it's so important that you're doing the same. Like you get to know a new person, you get to know like minister of something, you need to include it in your portfolio, so called, and think strategic. Okay, this person can help me with that. I can help him with another in another way. Of course, exchange, not misuse, exchange. Be there and also dare to think that, hey, maybe this person is could help me with this and that project. Not to be afraid to actually take the next step and ask. The person may refuse it, but ask and also offer your help, and then you will open up to a totally new world. And so I mean, it's and also by the end of the day, it's a lot about communication. If you are not communicating well with people and showing to them that you don't want to misuse them, you want actually to help them, and you want to develop together with them everything, and to make this world better for everyone, for all of us, then also you are able to actually change things and develop things way better than others, and you improve, because improvements are achieved by all of the people, not by individuals. uh,
Yeah.
if I think society, about the society.
Yeah,
So
I definitely agree with you. I think the power of networking is has proven itself out over and over again, and we definitely see that. So I would recommend the same to everybody. I want to ask you, looking ahead into the future with AI, with technology evolving, with everything happening, what do you see in terms of the business landscape? How do you see it influencing everything? What are you looking at and thinking about when you're looking into the future?
well, AI could be very beneficial, but it could also make some challenging times for many people. So you must be creative as an entrepreneur. You must involve AI in your future. Uh, I mean, always I say to people that are asking me, "Hey Eric, how are you today? What do you think about AI?" So I'm telling them I'm half AI already. I integrated AI in everything I do, and
Mhm.
why? Because I know that AI. If I will compete with AI, I will lose. That's a fact. You are flexible with new technologies, and you are actually kind of trying to integrate the new technologies into your own life. And about the future, I mean, AI can be very great tool, very great tech, if you just dare to think about future solutions that will involve AI. I mean, also, like I will say, I have many friends that are professors. One professor from some university in Finland, he told me that, oh, there are so many students that are now, using ChatGPT to write their own works. It's of course illegal. It's not okay. But I'm telling him, but you can't stop it. It's the same also with Google Translate. People are using it every day. Before it was like not okay to use it because, when you are, for example, writing works in English, but today you are using it. It's okay. So, I mean, the word is actually, it must be there also flexible. Use AI in favor of humanity and also in favor of developing somewhere, because you can't avoid it. It will knock in your door. So neither you are actually starting to develop it, you know, becoming a part of it, but also developing it, making it like your way, or you just lose the lose it and you just fight against something that is much bigger than anyone. I mean, AI is the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah, I think the people who are thinking AI is not here to stay and it's going to fade away are the same people that thought the internet was going to fade away. So it's just another evolution of that. And I think the same that we say about money applies to AI. It could be a great servant, but a terrible master. And I think it's important to learn how to think about that and how to contextualize that in reality, how to actually take that and
Exactly.
incorporate it, like you said. And I'm with you as well. I'm already using multiple different tools in my business that are AI tools, and it's very helpful. And it is for sure getting rid of the necessity for certain roles. But that's, again, that's always been progress. That's always
Mm,
been evolution. You know, when the automobile and the combustion engine came along, the horses were no longer the main form of transportation, right? Back in
exactly.
those days, the fastest speed you could get anywhere is horse speed, horsepower, right?
Yeah,
So as technology evolves, certain things become outdated, obsolete, and that's just the reality of it all. But I think, like you said, it's the amalgamation of both. It's incorporating all of that in and allowing yourself to continue to evolve with the
exactly.
technology and with the times.
And you can create by doing that the future workplaces. I mean, AI will create also many workplaces. It will not take, okay, well, today you are actually not going to, in order to fix your shoe, you're not going to a shoe fix. What is the name of that? The shoe
Yeah, like
fixer.
what's it called? A cobbler?
Yeah, probably. You are actually,
Let me.
yeah, you are
I
not
mean,
doing it.
in our defense, English is not either of our native languages. So, let's just be clear with everybody here. I speak three fluently and a couple broken. You speak how many languages?
I speak seven different languages, and but my English today, I have bad English day, but it's okay. It's okay. I manage.
Yeah.
Some days are like
Listen, for
that.
7 languages, we'll give you a pass on this one.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look this up though. I'll let you talk, but I'm gonna have to find this answer. Otherwise, it's gonna drive me crazy.
No, you do it in the meantime. But yeah, I mean, AI will also create many workplaces in the future, and we need to think about, okay, what type of workplaces? And I think the more workplaces we will see will be smart, developing smart develop. Well, what can I say? It's like high tech workplaces, but it's like more in the side of not engineers, developers, but in general, people that are developing the AI, keeping it all the time updated and, more relevant and more, because I think that, today we see like ChatGPT and the Google and Bing and all the different kind of services, but it's the same with Nokia, one Finnish company that is not really successful anymore. That used to be number one in the world when it comes to mobile phones. 2007 Nokia was the biggest and the
Hmm.
most selling phone
Hmm.
in the world. And today, me and you, I'm using iPhone. You probably, I don't know what you use, but no, none of
Yep.
us, yeah, iPhone as well. None of us is actually using a Nokia, and it's the same also with those AI technologies that if they will not update themselves and keep themselves like actual and relevant, they will disappear. And some other AI services will replace them. So AI is not coming to replace people. AI is coming to replace unnecessary workplaces that are now, for our time, are unnecessary and will make it more efficient, but it will also create in the long run more economic development, more economic growth, and more workplaces that are we can't know today about. So it's just to really be able to think a bit outside of the box, because some people will need to fix the AI. Some people will need to do the measurements, the updates, program updates, and
Right. The training models and everything else, for
exactly.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone,
And I'll
someone.
tell you my thoughts on that, but really quickly. It was cobbler, which I'm amazed that I pulled that out of my brain somehow. That's, sometimes you have information that you didn't realize was being stored there.
Mm,
The fact that that word was there. So they used to be called cobblers. They used to make custom shoes. Now
yeah,
I guess you would just call them shoemakers. And then I guess it says in England they're called cordwainers, who are skilled artisans with leathers and shoes and everything else. So that's just to wrap up that cycle, wrap up that thought. But coming back to AI and everything else, here's my take on it. I don't know if you're familiar with Charlie Munger. Do you know who he was?
tell me. I want to learn every day something new. So today I will. I got a chance. Do
Well,
it.
this is something good. You're gonna love this, and
Yes.
I think this is gonna be very helpful for you because he's one of my favorite people, one of my favorite mentors, somebody that I learned so much from. from life and then applying into business. Unfortunately, he passed away this past November. He
Mhm.
was 99 years old. His birthday was also early January, so close to your birthday. I forget exactly. I think maybe it was January 4th, something along then. He would have been 100. So he was two months or a month and a half shy of living an entire century. So he had a lot of valuable advice and perspective. He was also Warren Buffett's business partner. He was a billionaire. He was a board member of Daily Journal, Costco, Berkshire Hathaway, all these different companies. So he had a lot of experience. He's a lawyer before he became an investor. So a lot of experience in business, in life, a lot of success. And the week before he passed away, he actually did his final interview, and he was very much still alert, aware, sharp mentally. And you could tell he's physically deteriorating, but he was very aware mentally. And
Mhm.
he has this concept that I love. He calls it my too hard pile, something that is too hard to decide on. I don't know which way to go because it's too hard. I'm just going to put this in my too hard pile. And he used to do that with investments. So with investment decisions, if he was absolutely certain in an investment, this is how Berkshire Hathaway and Warren Buffett and these
Mhm.
guys operate anyways. They make bets that are asymmetrical risk reward relationships. So very little downside and risk, very high upside. And they usually make plays for cash flow and things of that nature. So this value investing concept that he got from Benjamin Graham. So they make these bets that they're very certain in. And if they're uncertain, they don't make any decisions. Or if they don't like the bet, they don't make any decisions. And something that is somewhere in the middle, they put in their too hard pile, right? So, for example, they asked him about Elon Musk and
Mhm.
Charlie Munger, and this last week before he passed away. This is to show you his thinking. They asked him what he thinks about Elon Musk, and he said, Elon Musk is not somebody that I would bet on or invest in, nor would I bet against him and short his stocks. He said, I put Elon Musk in my too hard pile. And I love that way of thinking.
Yeah.
People might think it's a cop out of not answering or making a decision. I think it's a very intelligent thing to do. And for me, AI is exactly that. I put AI in my too hard pile because, when people say, are you optimistic or pessimistic? Is the human race over, or are we going to all become robots? Or is it completely a non factor and AI is a fad? For me personally, I'm not pessimistic or optimistic. I'm just, it is what it is. I put that in my it is what it is pile, right?
Yeah.
It's the natural flow of technology, it's natural progression. And I think thinking that you're going to stop progress, thinking that you're going to stop growth is wishful thinking. I think the world and humanity is going to continue to evolve as it evolves. And for me
Mhm.
personally, I'm okay with the outcome. I'm going to do my best to put myself in a position where I can capitalize and I can take care of myself and my family and loved ones. But the rest is what it is. That's just my take on it. And I think that really helps take the pressure off everything. What are your thoughts on all of that?
That's right. Actually, that's true. And it's very important that we also think about AI that it's here to stay. It's here to stay. And imagine how many things you will do without. Okay, let's say that I have a car. Actually, it has this self-driving feature. You know,
Mhm.
and imagine how many work you can do, how much work you can do while instead of actually driving your car. Imagine how many traffic accidents we can
Mhm.
save. We can actually save lives. And by AI, we can actually improve so many things in our lives and also improve lives in general. So, I mean, your time, the most important thing in our life, you will not spend it on driving. You will spend it on working, doing things that you like and that will progress you. To drive a car will not take you anywhere. Well, yeah, practically it's funny, but it will take you from one point to another. But I mean, in life, the bigger picture,
Right.
it will not take you
Right.
anywhere.
Theoretically, you're not getting anywhere
Yeah,
driving all day long.
exactly, exactly. But
Yeah.
if your car is doing that instead of you, just observe. Yeah, the car does the right work, and right now I'm not on the way to crash with a tree. Then everything is all right, and you can actually focus on the important things in life and to actually use your time wisely. And that's the thing with AI. It will help us, humanity, to become better, to use our time better, more efficient, more. I really believe in AI, but I understand also your point of view. It's
Mhm.
you can
You
predict
know
the
what's
future.
interesting? It's so funny this conversation because we're both optimists. I can tell, I know
Hmm.
myself, and I can tell, just from this conversation and knowing you for the past few years, we're both optimists by nature, right? We're always looking at the
True.
glass half full. We're always optimistic, but we're different brands of optimist. I
Yeah.
think you're more of a pure optimist and always positive and looking at the upside of things. I'm an optimist in the sense that I'm okay with whatever happens. I'm an optimist in the sense that
Yeah.
here's something I always say. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. This is my brand of optimism. I believe everything matters and nothing matters at the same time. I genuinely believe that. I've believed that since I was a kid. I believe everything matters, so I'm very much disciplined. I believe what time you wake up, how you eat, who you speak to, what time you sleep, every little action matters. I believe every single inch matters. How you do one thing is how you do everything. I'm a big believer in that, and I think people show their character based on their decisions and their actions. So I believe everything matters. I'm hyper aware of that. At the same time, on a grand scale of time and the grand scale of the universe, I think none of us matter. The earth doesn't matter. I think it's all completely irrelevant to the bigger picture. So I genuinely also believe nothing matters. So I'm very much on this fine line. That's
Yeah.
my brand of optimism. That's why I'm always so happy and optimistic, because I do my best to make this life as best as it could be, but at the
Exactly.
same time, it really doesn't matter.
You remind me my best friend, another friend. He is like you, exactly the same. He's like, Eric, you think so much positive, but I'm just dealing with the life, and I get it. And he's telling me always like, yeah, life it is what it is, and we should work. We gotta work with what we have, and that's the difference here. But at the same time, I also believe that uh, everything matters, but I don't know. It's like nothing matters. Yeah, well, it is what it is. I mean, we
I know.
can make it.
Yeah,
We
that's
can
what it is.
improve. It's tricky. It's tricky. What can I say?
It's a hard one for people to grasp. I think just by nature as humans, it's hard for us to think we don't matter because we're so self-centered and focused on
Mm,
our lives, right? To tell somebody, your existence, the people you love, your community, everything you've done to this point in your life, your entire planet is completely irrelevant. It doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. It's hard to digest. But again, for me personally, that's just how I think. That's what I believe. I like to, it's funny. I like to practice objectivity,
mhm,
right? What I mean by that is in every aspect of life, I do this very consciously, and I do this pretty much every single day.
mhm,
I practice being objective. If I find myself in a certain camp, in a certain belief system, in a certain ideology, I immediately try to challenge that. I immediately try to find resources, information, perspectives, the opposite of
mm,
that, and compare both. I don't believe in any one ideology or any one specific belief system. I love to study them all and make my own decisions. And this plays
exactly.
on, my trait, which I've always been very stubborn. So
Mm.
my entire life, I've been a very stubborn person. That can be a downside, but it can also be extremely positive because when you're very stubborn, you like to be critical of things, ask questions, make your own decisions.
I see it totally as a positive thing because that's the thing. If you are stubborn, you are actually you are learning everything till the end, till the most, the most tiny detail.
Yes.
So it's yeah.
Exactly. And Bruce Lee had a book. You can check this out if you haven't. It's interesting. It was called Striking Thoughts. Obviously, they're trying to play on the pun
Mhm.
of striking as martial arts, but also striking thoughts. I think that's what they're trying to do. That's what it sounded like to me. But it's essentially a small book on Eastern philosophies or Eastern ideologies. And one of the things that he says in that book that stuck with me that I still remember, I listened to it maybe in 2020, the audiobook,
Mhm.
and I still remember to this day. This was my one takeaway. He said something, I'm paraphrasing, something along the lines of um, an ideology of any kind is a disease of the mind.
Yeah.
And Charlie Munger, who I mentioned, also seconds that motion. He used to always talk about that as well. Charlie Munger used to say him and Warren Buffett, every single day, they sit down and they try to shoot down their best idea.
Yeah.
So they would look at their best investment idea, their best business idea, and they would sit down and actively try to shoot it down, actively try to talk about why it's not great. And if they couldn't come up with good reasons and it still stood the test, then it's a great idea. All right. So I love that aspect of, not being stuck in ideology, not being stuck in, all of this. And this is what I meant going back to our main point. This is what I meant about I'm okay admitting that nothing matters because on the grand scale of things, I like to be objective. I'm not stuck in my subjective viewpoints of who I am, my life, what I believe. Objectively speaking, I'm just another human being amongst the almost 8 billion walking around nowadays, and then also all the people that have lived before us and gone, so objectively speaking, I'm a very, 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 very small part of this planet, let alone the universe, right? So
True.
it's when I think like that, it's easier to be objective.
It is, and it's good that you are actually asking questions, and that's the same is valid also for me because I like to actually challenge my own thoughts, and if something is coming up, I'm always like thinking, oh, Eric, why do you think like that, and why, what's the reason, what's the source behind it? So I definitely get you, and when you do that, you're also learning a lot about yourself, about how you are actually processing things, how you thinking about different things, and it's like why did you think so? Why? What's the reason behind it? It's important for yourself as a person also to develop yourself because if you never do that, this self-reflection, you are not able to even develop, not even a business. Everything starts from here. Dare to ask questions that are sometimes very difficult. Um, but not everyone is actually able to do so, and that's the tricky thing. But you're learning by time. I can definitely say and relate that during the recent years, I'm much more asking myself questions. Why did I do that, and why did I do so? And I'm daring to ask myself also difficult questions, and try to even change my behavior sometimes. So but this is something that is not easy and not so easy to do for many people. That's the thing. Yeah.
I love that, an underlying factor within your message is always courage. You mentioned dare a few times, dare to think, dare to do, dare to so on and so on. To dare is essentially to have courage. And I think that's something that everybody can take away from you, your story, your journey. I think courage seems to be a big priority for you or a big part of who you are.
Yeah, it is indeed. It's important because always when I was a kid, so I got like boiled when I was like in the ninth grade. No, sorry, not ninth grade, third grade, 9 years old. That's the
You were bullied.
Yeah, I mean, kind of people boycott me, didn't want to talk to me, and ignored me,
Sure.
and I think I, by time, developed this personality that you must dare to show yourself, to change people's mindset about you, but also to not really care about what they're saying. And that's something that I learned when I was 9 years old. And by time I got so many friends, and the same people that they boiled me, they today are, childhood friends and are great friends of mine. Um, but it's the thing. I became something else once I had the courage and dared to say that don't let them to push you down, to put you down, and to not let you grow. And I was just 9 years old, but I already knew that Eric, you will be something someday, and you will show them all that you are different, and you will
Mhm.
succeed, and you will dare to do everything that they told you in the third grade that you will never be able to do.
Mhm.
And that's the thing. And I don't know. I mean, I think it's a hard life school. That's the best. That's the best teacher. Sometimes I think so.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, I think the greater the challenge, the greater the person. I always believe that,
Mm,
and this is why I have that picture behind me. I've referred to it a million times before, and I always will continue to do so because I believe it. Pressure is a privilege, and to me,
it is.
all the challenges I went through in life, and growing up in the Middle East, and everything that happened to me, that's a privilege because I have a fire burning inside me that I don't think anything can put out.
Mm,
And somebody who grew up in luxury and grew up with wealth and everything else can never have that. Good luck competing with me. It's just not possible. So for me, the greater the challenge, the greater the person.
yeah, it is. It is so. It's definitely so. I'm also sorry for the noise because people are here around, so I'm trying to focus. That's good that we are able to do so. Um, yes, so it is so, and when you grow up in a society that is challenging you in a very from a very early age, then you are actually um, growing as a person that is very independent because you dare. I always use this kind of dare, but you actually
Hmm.
dare to do things that other people are not daring to do. You are asking the difficult questions. You are doing things that are difficult for others. You are um, facing challenges that other people would just, I give up. I don't want to do that.
Hmm.
This is too much for me. No, I
Hmm.
think that's something that I already experienced before. This is nothing. I will definitely be able to do so. Just today,
Hmm.
I may it's funny, but I met a Swedish broker in the beach there. I went to swim today earlier, and he told me that oh, you're moving to Denmark. Danish people are very hard. And then I told him, yes, but you are talking as a Swedish. He said, but yeah, definitely, but you are from Finland, so they are even hard. It will be even harder for you. And then I just told him that, hey, do you know where I'm coming originally from? And he was like, I
Hmm.
don't know, Tunisia, Morocco. I was like, well, yeah, on the way there, but actually I'm from Israel. And he was like, oh, okay, but then the Danish people are, it will be
Hmm.
easy for you. So it's the same,
Sure.
the league, it's like a football game.
Hmm.
It's like Barcelona. I don't know who you're supporting. Barcelona against, I don't know,
Hmm.
some tiny small town in Finland or Sweden. Of course,
Sure.
Barcelona will win. We are in
Hmm.
another league, and that's why we dare and we are able to do things that other people will find very difficult because we already been
Hmm.
through everything else, so
Hmm. Yeah.
luxury.
No, again, I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. I think the tougher you are as a person as a result of, it's like the saying, you grow through what you go through. That's where the
Exactly.
growth comes from,
Mm,
right? So I'm definitely with you. I want to ask you one last question. I mean, I could talk to you all day long and we could continue this
do so.
conversation. We'll do
Definitely.
many more. I would love to have you back on many more times and we'll dig into all kinds of other conversations as we both continue to grow. But I want to
Yeah.
ask you this. You talk about the marathon of entrepreneurship
Yeah.
and this idea of a marathon. I want to hear your thoughts on that before we wrap up. How would you explain that to a new business owner or a younger entrepreneur?
The marathon, you mean like the failing and then kind of standing up
Yeah, you
again?
always tell me about it.
Yeah.
Last time we spoke as well, you mentioned, restarting over and over
Yeah.
again
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
pivoting and changing your path and how it's not a short sprint, it's a marathon.
It is. It is. It's a marathon, and what can I say? Let me think in a way that I want to get the right words because it's a very important message. Um, you will fail 1,000 times, million times, but one time, just enough of one time that you're succeeding. And when you're succeeding this time, then everything else is just disappearing. Of course, you are gaining experience by time. Every story, every startup, everything you are doing in life, it's actually helping you to achieve some other goals. You're learning to be a better person, to improve yourself, to reach your goals. But never give up. Never give up. If you're failing, stand up, think a bit, differently, dare to think creative. Okay, how should I do it next time different? What can I learn from last experience? What can I do different based on the learning, of earlier experiences, and do it better? And it's like training a muscle.
Hmm.
If you are not
Hmm.
going every day to the gym and training the muscle, it will be, well, you can say, yeah, I'm going to gym once a week every 3 months. This will not take you anywhere. Yes, you are training, but are you really training? No, you're just kind of fooling yourself.
Hmm.
But if you're training every day, you are failing, you are standing up, you are becoming a stronger, you are training your muscle. Brain is a muscle. You are doing it.
Hmm.
So your brain will be much more, what can I say, developed, creative,
Mm-hmm.
and will take you to new heights that you never thought you will be able to do or to achieve. And that's the thing. Um, don't be afraid to fail. Be afraid to not fail. That's my message. So
Mm-hmm.
because if you're not failing, something is wrong. But if you're failing, you are learning a lot and you are becoming a better person.
That's a great message.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to fail. Be afraid to not fail. Yeah, I love
Yes.
that. I'm definitely with you. I think both of us and anybody else who's accomplished anything has failed a million times over
Mm,
in smaller degrees in different directions to be able to get to where they are today and who they are today. I'm gonna ask you the final question we ask everybody on this podcast,
sure.
and this came from me being younger and asking mentors and people along those lines and taking those answers and applying it in my life, and it was always helpful. And now I'd like to get everybody's take on this. And the question is, considering everything you know today
Yeah.
and the person that you are today, if you could go back to your younger self and give yourself only one piece of advice, what would that be?
Oh, Eric, drive fast and don't really care about what other people are saying. Do it and fail, and then do it again, and then you will succeed. Because that's the thing. That's the most important thing is to drive fast. Drive fast and never stop. Because when you stop, then it starts to be a problem. But when you're driving, you will drive and you will reach to the goal and you will reach to the successful destination.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I love that. Drive fast. Don't be afraid to fail, and don't worry about what anybody else thinks.
Yeah, never, never. Because, people in general, unfortunately, we live in a, not everything is butterflies and positive, and I love to think positively. But people can be also can challenge you. And in general, can be jealous. They can be very, what can I say? They can be against you in many ways, but don't listen to them. If you are doing something good and you know that it will be good, and it's something that will help the world to become a better place, will solve crucial, problems, and will create something unique, something innovative. If you're doing something with good, goals, so don't listen to what people has to say. Of course, listen to your customers, listen to feedbacks from customers, from real customers, not to everyone. Because if you
Mm-hmm.
listen to everyone, you will totally get confused. And confusion
Mm-hmm.
is not good for an entrepreneur. That's the last thing that is good, actually. You need to
Right.
stay
Yeah.
focused and tuned. Yeah.
100%. I love that. I think you brought so much value today, and people
I
can go
hope
back
so.
through this and re-listen. And yeah, there's been so many lessons. There's been a lot that we talked about, and
Mm.
I think a lot of it can be very helpful for anybody who wants to borrow our experience and not make the same mistakes and learn. I think there's a lot of value here for sure. I want to let you go and enjoy that beautiful weather over there, and enjoy some for me too. But
Well,
before I let you go, tell everybody where they can find you and how they can get in contact with you.
so I am on LinkedIn, Eric Rimon, and I am also on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Entrepreneur EU is my username on Instagram. Entrepreneur EU. It's actually a pretty nice name because it's like an entrepreneur in the EU. It's very unique. Uh,
Yeah,
I
it's very
hope,
much your brand.
yeah, I hope someday someone will buy it from me. But let's see. It's a domain. It's invested
Yeah,
domain.
yeah,
Let's
yeah.
see.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm
And we'll
there.
we'll put all the links below as well.
Yeah, yeah, I will share them with you, and you can share them to the world. And everyone is more than welcome to get in touch with me. And doesn't matter, it can be everything from businesses to just consulting to just a good advice. I love to help also. So if somebody is feeling, oh, I don't really have enough money to pay because we're in challenging times, so I do understand people's economy. I would love to help. I would love to help. I would love to listen. I would love to share my own experiences and knowledge because we are here to create a better world together. If you remember what
Hmm.
we said, and
Hmm.
I want to do it because one day I'm helping you, the other day you're helping me, and so we are creating a better world for everyone, and that's the most important.
Yeah, well, that's very generous of you, and I know that you're a very genuine person, and I
Thank
think
you.
everybody would be more than would be getting more than enough value just to reach out and connect with you and everything else as well. Again, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you being here, and
Thank
I'm
you.
definitely excited for more future conversations. This time, probably from Denmark. But thanks for
Oh,
your time again.
looking forward for that. Thank you so much for being here. Have a great weekend and talk to you.
Thank you. You as well.
Thanks.
All right.